The finance minister defending the value-added tax increase before an audience of business leaders. The maritime sector remains an attractive option for students. And urban renewal honoring fathers at a special luncheon.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Wolf-Arkeson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening, the government has been facing much criticism since the announcement of an increase in value-added tax. Today, the Minister of Finance and the Deputy Prime Minister shared with the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce a detailed account of the country's finances and why the government was forced to make such a decision. There has been an outcry from Bahamians since the announcement of an increase in value-added tax during the 2018-2019 budget debate. During the Chamber of Commerce's monthly luncheon meeting, the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister gave a detailed presentation on the factors that led to the government's decision to increase value-added tax. The Deputy Prime Minister says that the government simply did not have a choice. He says that the country is facing challenging times due to the state of the public finances, which could, over time, undermine the stability of the Bahamian economy. The DPM says the country's debt is around $7.2 billion, with a debt interest of $381 million a year.
Now, that $381 million represents more than our national security budget, our health budget, our educational budget, by over $100 million. Obviously, that is not sustainable. We are borrowing, and we have been borrowing, not just to meet the commitments of the government, but to pay for the financing of this huge debt that we've amassed.
Clearly, he says, the government had to make some very tough decisions, which included the 4.5% increase in VAT. He says while many have asked why not wait until the country's growth to pay down the debt, he says they simply could not.
But the problem with waiting is that the commitments of the government do not wait. We need to fund the government. And so I either have to go and borrow or I have to tax. Because the truth of the matter is, one of the rating agencies has us as junk status. The other one has us on review with a negative outlook, which means they can too bring us down to junk status. We're able to maintain our level of borrowing cost because we have one of them still at investment grade. If the two of them come to junk, we're going to have some serious challenges.
The DPM says the time has come to break the cycle of overspending and budget accordingly.
We said, okay, we got this funding gap. How do we make this up? The only thing left of us after we've done all of our revenue enhancements that we can think of is to look at the value-added tax. And we considered anything from 9% all the way to 12%. In fact, all the way to 15%, which the previous administration on the introduction of value-added tax had suggested. And we recognize that anything less than 12%, which we found to be the sweet spot, if you will, would cause us to have to increase the taxes on the Bahamian people, as well as engage in borrowing that will not help fix this growing financing cost problem.
Value-added tax is expected to bring about some $400 million in additional revenue for the government. The Deputy Prime Minister says if there was a better way to fix the country's financial crisis, they would have eagerly accepted. But as of now, they are keen on doing what must be done.
Because the reality is that in doing this, and you see the protest on Bay Street, we know that there is significant angst in the community, and it makes us as politicians very vulnerable. We recognize that. And so there's no way that we come to this decision easily. Some of my colleagues are first-timers. They haven't even gotten their feet wet yet. But they're going to face a challenge come 2022 as a result of what we're doing here today. But I give them credit Because like me, they recognize that this is more than just about being re-elected. This is about trying to secure the future of the country.
In other news, the Office of the Prime Minister and other partners preparing to host a major conference next week. The three-day conclave will focus on the development of blockchain and cryptocurrency in the Bahamas and around the world. And that will attract some 500 local, national, and international investors and entrepreneurs. Now, the conference is one of the first recommendations made to the government by the Grand Bahamas Tech Steering Committee, which was formed last December. It is all in an effort to turn Grand Bahama into an internationally recognized technology hub and the Silicon Valley of the region. You can register and find out more information by visiting the official website, blockchainbahamasconference.com. Now, that three-day conference opens Wednesday at the Grand Lucayan Resort. Switching gears now, another group of young people on Grand Bahama on their way to developing careers in the maritime industry as the Bahamas Maritime Cadet Corp continues its mandate of training young Bahamians. The latest group of cadets graduating during a special ceremony at Geneva's restaurant recently. Sabrina Brown reports.
25 young people receiving certificates of completion as they join many others who have graduated from the Bahamas Maritime Cadet Program on Grand Bahama over the past 9 years. Minister of State for Grand Bahama Kwesi Thompson challenging the young people to think big, as many Bahamians are achieving big things around the world.
We've been able to see people like the Golden Girls and the Golden Knights who, when it comes to track and field, they are the best in the world, without question. We've been able to see Bahamians become CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. Bahamians. We've been able to see Bahamians rise to where they are, or they have worked at NASA. Bahamians who have been able to go and work at NASA. We have Bahamians who are lead positions in companies like Google and companies like Microsoft. Bahamians.
The minister admonished them to work hard, not to be afraid to fail, and not to forget God.
There's going to come a time in your life when your mommy can't help you, your daddy can't help you, your friend can't help you, your instructor cannot help you, your boss cannot help you, your doctor cannot help you, but only God one will be able to help you. So have a relationship with God. Know how to pray, because there will come a time when the only thing you could do in certain situations is to pray.
Director Clayton Curtis says the local program is advancing, as this latest group of cadets got the opportunity to take the standards for training and certification for watchkeepers course, a major accomplishment for Grand Bahama.
The cadets in this class who made that STCW course are the first cadets in the 15-year history of the program who are not New Providence resident to receive training in the STCW, another first for Grand Bahama.
Cadets Rat Store and Jeremy Russell share their experience in the program.
I've been with this program since grade 8, and I have learned so much since then. From learning how to tie knots to ship husbandry to rules of the road, rules of the road, and also navigation.
I learned how the maritime industry is important to trade and commerce of a country. Also, I learned why ships and their crew need to stay safe while at sea.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
In news from the crime beat, 4 men are in police custody tonight assisting with investigations into a stabbing incident that occurred in 8 Mile Walk. Police say around noon yesterday, officers were called to the Rigby Plaza in Pinedale, where a 23-year-old man was found with stab wounds to the upper body. The victim reported that he was attacked by a group of men while at a construction site in Pinedale. He was taken to hospital where he is listed in serious conditions. Investigations are continuing. Meantime, 2 Grand Bahamian men arraigned before the court Eric Culmer, aged 19 years, of Bahamas, was back before Magistrate Rankin Johnson for sentencing on illegal firearm and ammunition charges. Culmer pled guilty to the charges yesterday, and today he was sentenced to 3 years at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. Culmer was arrested on Tuesday by officers of the Rapid Response Unit after a search of his apartment on Bass Lane uncovered a black .360 .380 pistol with a magazine containing 6 rounds of ammunition. And also from the court, Lyndon Ferguson, age 36 years, of Lewis Yard, was arraigned on possession of an illegal firearm and ammunition charges before Magistrate Gwendolyn Claude in 8 Mile Rock. Now, he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 5 years at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. A Lewis Yard man was also arrested by police yesterday for possession of an unlicensed firearm, and police tell us that Ferguson was found in possession of that .45 pistol and magazine that contained 7 live rounds of ammunition on Tuesday of this week. Well, just one night left before the Grand Bahama Homecoming Association Tyrus Riley concert. Answer this question underneath the post on our Facebook page, and you can win a ticket to tomorrow night's concert featuring Mr. Singy Singy. Now, I hope you tuned into Power 104.5 today. Here is the question. What song did Tyrus Riley sing on Power 104.5? Now, you can answer this underneath our post, and the winner, as always, will be announced at the end of the newscast. Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, continues right after this.